Willy bum bum.
Willy, willy, willy bum bum.
Willy willy bum bum ba bum ba bum. Willy willy bum ba bum ba bum.
I never watched an episode of that show.
Did you?
Like the theme. I just like the theme tune. I think it's
That is an awesome theme tune.
Not as good as Mastermind.
Oh no, that's
Not as good as David Lammy on Mastermind.
bum bum.
Do you remember David Lammy on Mastermind? That was a masterful performance.
Yeah, he scored fuck all.
Hey, that's racist to say that. No, David Lammy scored a victory for racism.
Yes.
Or against racism. One or the other. And if you say otherwise, then you is racist.
What I want to know is, if you're in court giving evidence and then you blow your nose, why would you sniff more after you blow your nose?
Because you're busy doing drugs in the middle of a court, you disgusting woman. Oh my god. Like, everyone that says, oh, I don't believe in corporal punishment, you look at that cunt there and tell me she doesn't deserve 50 lashes.
And if you touch your nose in court, that means you're lying.
Well, what if you have like icing sugar all over your nose after you've blown your nose in a tissue?
Her head is lying. Her lips are moving.
Oh, have you heard? Actually, the missus gave me an update today. Johnny Depp was desperate to have Kate Moss as a witness, but he wasn't allowed to bring her forth as a witness because she hadn't been assaulted by him and some other reason. So what's happened is Amber Heard's defence, being the absolute geniuses they are, have mentioned her, which means that Johnny Depp can now use her for the defence.
Surely there should just be a thing where the judge is like, you're not doing cocaine in my fucking court, you cunt.
Have you seen the clips from...
You understand where you are, you daft bitch.
You've seen the clip, like, montage of the defence asking Johnny Depp questions. It's like, they said, oh, blah, 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 and he said, well, and they say, objection, hearsay. How do you know? How do you know what I was going to say?
Isn't it like being in church? You can commit crimes in court and it's okay, Hobbit.
Mate, I don't understand how any of this works. I just find it all infuriating.
I just want to hear about the bed shitting incident.
Yeah, have they covered the bed shitting it yet?
That's the money shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, yes. There's been a song made about it. Did I send you the song in the group chat? No, I sent it into the 37 chat this morning.
Yeah.
So, but it was human fecal matter. Oh, there it is. Found it. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reply and I'm going to at Hemi. Right.
Yeah.
There you go. And now you'll see the song which has been made with Johnny Depp singing it. But yeah, I don't like it. Oh, and the worst thing of all is, did you know Johnny Depp had a dog? I say he had a dog because in the divorce, she got custody of the dog, and then what she did is she gave the dog to her dad, who's been jailed twice for doing dog fighting. So,
has he ever pooped in Johnny Depp's bed? Like, I just think Johnny Depp deserves to be pooped in his bed. I think she deserves a medal for pooping in his bed.
Doesn't deserve to be mauled to death by pit bulls, does it? I mean, that's evil.
That's because women always get custody, even though they're clearly mental.
Yeah.
And even when she said, I'm going to give the dog to my dad who's been jailed twice for running dog fights and the dog's going to get mauled to death by pit bulls. Ha 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 ha. I'm Amber Heard. I do cocaine in court.
And then you could call your band Johnny Depp's Dog's Dead.
Yeah.
In other news, I've been watching the Blade films and they're really gory.
Spooky news. They're not gory, Hobbit.
In like, the first scene in Blade, he gets like, there's the guy. And
you mean the blood rave?
The split, yeah.
Oh, you know that bird he goes to the blood rave with. She was a porn star. It was Tracy Lords.
Really? You're telling
Yeah.
me birds in it are what in porn? Amazing.
Well, apparently Tracy Lords lied about her age to get into porn. She was like young. She was like 16 or something when she started.
Oh, yeah. someone's telling me
Remember,
that-
Blade didn't happen because Black Panther was the Marvel's first ever R-rated black superhero film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's done a
Yeah,
lot of
nothing.
songs, Tracy
There was
Lords.
never any black superheroes. There were never any black Marvel heroes before Black Panther.
Is it more
First ever.
gory than Human Centipede?
Oh,
Human Centipede's body horror and
Is it?
yeah. As Alphabet Cats, Spawn as well, like another black superhero film, like all the ones that didn't happen.
Yeah.
well, this. I mean, according to Zoomers, anything from 20 years ago is just ancient.
Yeah,
Like I've been seeing these memes recently on Twitter saying that what people think Zelda looked like 20 years ago, and they're showing the game from the NES era,
Yeah.
and then 20 years ago it's like, yeah, here's it fully 3D on the GameCube or
yeah.
N64 or something.
Well, imagine
Another
the
black superhero.
imagine the problem my mate had when he tried to explain to his kids what a cassette was. Well, he decided to
Yeah.
get himself out of this hole by going, no, what was it? I can't remember which way round it was. He was either trying to explain what a VHS was, or he was trying to explain what a cassette was. So how he explained it was, well, it's like a little version of a VHS. No, it's like a big version of a cassette tape. And they're like, Dad, what's a cassette tape?
But it's like the same thing, like with like the floppy disk and like I'm sure this has happened, right? But Zoomers looked and it's like, oh well, someone's made a physical copy of the save icon. So yeah, but no, the Blade.
Oh,
film-
that was a comfy sound, wasn't it? A floppy disk reading.
Yeah, I do remember.
Or internet dial-up as well. That was always
No,
nice
that was
sound.
a horrible noise.
I
That's
didn't like that one.
or Commodore
It's pretty
64 games loading, which is the same noise.
Or the Spectrum games loading off tape.
Yeah,
That
they
was
did the same
sound.
thing.
Yeah,
After 5 minutes you get syntax error on the screen.
yeah.
Of course you would.
Yeah. Happy days.
Oh, happy day.
Yeah. Should we do some?
Oh,
unexplained
3.5 inch,
mysteries?
3.5
I'm
inch
not-
or 5.25 Hobbit.
Uh,
What's your
I've
favourite
used-
floppy?
I've used both, and technically the 3.25 is not floppy, so I have to be 5.5 inch.
5.25.
The casing isn't floppy, but the disc is.
Yeah.
It's the disc inside, isn't it, Hobbit? That's floppy.
Yeah, but like the original floppies were called floppy because you picked them up and they were floppy.
Yeah.
Where the 3.25 one was like
I always wanted as a child the Commodore 64 128 with the floppy drive.
and the built-in tape deck.
I don't know,
Or was that something
Amstrad.
else?
with
No, that was
No, the
Amstrad.
built-in tape deck was when Amstrad bought the Spectrum,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Oh, the
Correct.
Amstrad CPC, the Amstrad 464. What was the what was
came
like
with
the
its own
Commodore
monitor.
64 equivalent? Amstrad. That had a built-in tape drive, didn't it?
It had its own monitor as well, so you didn't have to use the.
In the little green monitor,
portable
the green
back-
monitor.
Yeah.
This has turned into an episode of Fact Hunt.
Yeah. Do you remember green monitors? Go on then, Hobbit. What's the reason for green monitors?
monochrome, phosphors are green.
Are they cheaper to
remembers
produce than
Rubik
CRTs then?
Well,
Why are they green and not black and white? That's the question.
because like green phosphors are really easy to do. Like if you look at the older oscilloscopes, they're green trace because it's like that's one of the easiest phosphor coatings you can get for a cathode ray tube.
We had one with orange text.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
posh.
remember the orange monochrome. Those were interesting, weren't they? Yeah, I like the orange ones. Amber, I think's the word they.
It was the Amstrad CPC, yeah, because it was. Do you remember when it got really weird when Amstrad bought Spectrum and you could play the Spectrum games on either? Was it you play Amstrad and Spectrum games on the same because they changed the Spectrum to be like it, so you could play this. So you bought one tape in it, and you could play it in 2 machines.
Made the Spectrum so it didn't fall apart when Amstrad took it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, gave it a proper keyboard.
The Spectrum one's weight weren't actually a bad bit of kit, was it?
It was good for the price.
Yeah.
Yeah, great days.
Yeah.
Who remembers Rubik Cube? Who remembers Rubik Cube and things from the past?
Yeah,
Rubik.
I
It was
remember
Rubik.
things from the past. I remember when things didn't suck ass.
Yeah.
Sweets we used to eat.
I just
And things we used to do.
If anybody hasn't watched Blade, don't watch it. It's a horribly anti-Semitic film of
Yeah.
a black man discovering who runs the movie industry and murder rampage. So can't recommend it. Really can't. And I'm surprised the ADL. Well, actually, they did arrest Wesley Snipes for tax evasion. So it turns out you can't just make a film about murdering Hollywood executives.
Yeah.
Yeah, that learnt him.
Yeah.
Like
Blade
the very
3 's
start
not
of
very
Me
good.
Too.
Blade 3 wasn't very good. Dominic Purcell was it as Dracula, and it's like you're not a convincing Dracula, mate.
I'm not surprised. I did quite like. Ryan Reynolds was quite good in it.
Oh, was he in it? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, he was Hannibal Caine.
Oh, okay. I didn't even like Dominic Purcell in Prison Break. I was like, why is this guy going to all the...
Oh, he was really good in. Did you ever see a TV series called John Doe?
No.
Oh, it was a guy, and it was weird. He was found like floating in a lake, and then but he knew everything. He knew everything there was to know. But it turns out, I don't think they ever said it on the TV series. I think the guy who wrote it said eventually. Apparently, it's something about when you die, you gain all the knowledge in the world or something. So he actually died, and that's how he gained all the knowledge.
That just sounds like really fucking flimsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So couldn't recommend Blade Runner. Well, it should be called Blade Runner because he runs around with a blade.
Yeah, chopping people's heads off.
Yeah, which is far better than like. Why the hell did they call that film Blade Runner? Because there was no running around with blades in it. That was dumb.
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep was a bit of a clunky title.
That was never going to fit on a cinema marquee, now was it?
Yeah.
I don't know. They should.
Why did they call it Blade Runner anyway? Because he didn't have a blade in it. I don't think he really did that much running.
What would you have named Blade Runner? Because Blade Runner is not a descriptive title of it.
Do you want me to do some? Do you want me to do some sidelines from a Fortean Times from 1998?
Does chap? Yeah, go on.
What we got then? God, they were boring. Trading standards officers looking for pirate computer games found counterfeit discs and copying equipment at a house in Mountain Ash, South Wales, but were unable to find the master discs until the owner's parrot squawked, "Another mattress! Another mattress!" They then uncovered cases containing 200 games worth about 10 grand. The parrot was giving us earache, and then it dawned on us what it was actually squawking, said Phil Jones, an investigator with European Leisure Software Publishers Association. Wow, that's a real, that just rolls off the tongue, that does, doesn't it?
Did the owners kill the parrot after this?
It doesn't say.
Wring its neck.
Did the owners give it to Amber Heard, who then gave it to her dad, who then fed it to the dogs?
How about this one then for our fabulous postal service? Christopher Berry, a chef in Kelowna, British Columbia, got a letter from his mother in Blackpool, England on the 10th of September. The only thing on the envelope was Mr. Christopher Berry. The letter, postmarked 3rd of September, had passed through British and Canadian mail sorting systems in 1 week.
And
how about this one then?
Is that it?
Yeah. Well, it only had his name on it. It didn't have an address.
Oh, right, okay.
The FBI suspected Groucho Marx of Marxist tendencies, according to the American publication The Nation. 186-page file on the comedian was compiled in 1953, apparently.
Was Karl Marx one of the Marx brothers?
Yeah, I think he was the not funny one, wasn't he?
He did lose his money in the Wall Street crash, so maybe that turned him.
Yeah.
Or did he start listening to Phil streams and going, yeah, this guy's talking a lot of sense. I like this. This makes sense to me.
How about this one then? A study by the University of San Diego of 27 years worth of California death certificates had revealed that a man's initials influence his longevity. Only men were looked at because their initials don't change with marriage. Those with initials like Wow, Ace and God tended to live more than 7 years longer than those labelled Rat, Pig or Dud.
That's strange.
That is
How
weird,
does that
isn't it?
work?
Fucking death certificates, how do they work?
Does anybody know?
Fuck, sod.
How about this one then? Missing cat Pewdie returned home to Newquay, Mid Wales after 2 years and was run over by a car. Whoops.
I almost want to hear like the the Price is Right theme from
Oh, fucking hell. How about this one? This is convoluted. A Naples man was riding in a taxi when he heard the dispatcher say a client needed a car at the apartment block where he lived. Then the dispatcher named his wife as the client. Arriving home, the man asked his driver to follow the taxi that had picked up his wife and discovered she was having an affair when he followed her to her lover's home.
Oh, naughty man.
Like a episode of Columbo or something, when it unravels the motive.
Fucking hell, how about this? This is
question.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. So this is from the Sunday Telegraph, 28th of June 1998. Afghans were ordered to memorise Muslim prayers and warned they would be tested by Taliban religious police. The patrolling vice squads were doling out instant punishment.
Leave me banana.
Yeah. Tali me banana.
Columbo, when his dog ate ice cream, he used to buy ice cream for his dog, as I remember.
The thing is, that might sound funny and all, but I could just imagine, like, the Taliban equivalent of Niles going there, going, can you tell me what the catechisms of the 4th century Council of Nicaea are about?
Hey, how about this? How's this for gratitude, then? A man who climbed down a ventilation shaft in Budapest to save a dog was abandoned for 4 days after the animal's owners hurried off with their freed pet. Fuck you, pal, I'm off.
Wait, so who was abandoned? The dog or
No,
the
the
man?
rescuer. So he saved the dog, then they fucked off.
Wait, so they were present whilst he was rescuing the dog.
Yeah.
He rescues the dog, and
Yeah.
then they just leave him.
yeah. This is in Budapest.
Yeah, Hungarians aren't right.
Yeah. A postman whose van was repeatedly attacked by wild turkey in Albany, New York State, was told not to deliver when the bird was about. The van's eagle emblem was thought to be to blame.
Best of the Eagles.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about something. So, I've been thinking about mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a long time ago, mushrooms were gigantic, like the size of trees today. And there were all these other giant creatures then as well. And you even got people like, isn't science amazing? I was in Dublin.
Look, I'll tell you what is amazing. Nikula Borodin, 24, cut off 2 toes from his left foot and ate them at a prison in Timisoara, Romania.
The reason that things were bigger back in the day is because there was more oxygen in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And also mushrooms, like fungus is more closely related to animals than it is to plants. So that could
Well, the other thing is there was a lot more carbon dioxide back then as well. So there was no polar ice caps. There were no deserts. It was far more verdant place than what we have right now. And the thing which I find interesting about that is, so all these giant creatures exist, and there's even like speculation as to, oh well, you see, back in oh bugger, I can't do it. No, I can't. Oh shit. Oh well, I'll have to do another playthrough.
The olden days.
Yeah, back in the olden days, they even have speculation that the gravity was different, and yet with all this speculation that oh yeah, giant dinosaurs, giant this, giant that, nobody, not one person says. So what about like giant bipedal creatures? You know, ones that might resemble humanoids in appearance. Oh no, those don't exist, but everything else does. Just not giant
paedophiles. They had giant paedophiles in those days as well.
Giant
paedophiles as well.
Bisexual. Bisexual paedophiles that are bipedal.
With big hands, so they could fiddle
walk on their own two legs so that their penis can swing free.
I think you'll find it's minor attracted paedophile.
As opposed to major attracted paedophile. Like... yes. Yeah, that's right. They're now known as minor attracted paedophiles.
Persons.
MAP stands for minor attracted
persons
pedophile.
bigots. It's minor attracted persons bigots.
Well, yeah, minor attracted paedophile, because the sort of person that's attracted to minors is known as a paedophile. Therefore, it's minor attracted paedophile. So, you know, it's like all these people.
Paedophile squared.
Yeah, paedophiles and Arthur Scargill's wife.
It's like people try to.
He's just rolling straight over that. He's just rolling straight over that quality gag there, Ian.
I was going to ask him what it was after. I was going
to. He was the
fucking
hell, Hobbit. I'm trying to explain to you. You keep gabbling on. he was the head of the National Union of Mine Workers, Hobbit.
Yeah, so his wife was attracted to minors.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Because she slept around
with him.
Yeah. With him, who was a minor.
Yeah, with her husband, that was a minor.
I didn't know Arthur Scargill was a minor. I just thought he was like...
you know, that's the most famous minor I could think of in a split second to make the minor double meaning gag. So
yeah,
I just thought he was someone that collected their dues.
And told them to go on strike.
Yeah, round them all up, you see, and send them down the pit.
Yeah.
Jimmy Savile was a minor as well. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Minor liked minors.
No, I don't know. He went down the mines. He
did, yeah. Google it. Yeah.
He used to do a lot of what's it called?
Touching kids.
Yes, he did a lot of that. But he also did a lot of the other stuff.
Magic. You seen that video that oh fuck, I think Society X made it, that said a lot of the stuff he did was either like neuro-linguistic programming or actual like magic. You know, the now then stuff, the repeating of stuff.
Jingle.
Yeah.
Jury.
Yeah.
You had certain rings and whatever.
Yeah.
One had an eye on it and whatever.
Well, that's cigar, right. I remember.
The cigar was a symbol, wasn't it? The cigar was a.
Yes, because I was going to say I specifically remember for that thing, talking about like every wizard has his wand, and yeah, Jimmy Savile has a wand. It's the cigar.
Yeah.
And the other wand as well when he was near little kids.
Yeah.
It's not the only wand he waved about.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the.
Jingle.
But according to the documentaries I was watching the other day, it's all our fault.
Pink wand.
It's all our fault because he was just so goddamn popular that they just couldn't get rid of him.
Yeah, Esther Ranson knew that he was a nonce, but it's like, wow, I don't particularly care. I'm a massive
Johnny
fan.
Rotten.
Yeah. Oh well, Johnny Rotten knew, and that's why he wasn't allowed back on the BBC. Same with David Bellamy.
David Bellamy was shit as well, so maybe that was also why the BBC didn't have him back. Didn't do much for me.
Oh, I like David Bellamy.
Yeah.
I rated him
Yeah.
highly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I thought he was good.
But Lenny Henry, you like him as well?
No,
I saw that David
funny.
Bellamy appeared at my local country park.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I saw him in the flesh. I think he was giving some talk or other.
I've got a similar story where I was at my in Crouch End. I was visiting some friends in Crouch End, and we were bored of a Saturday, and there was a school fete on. We said, let's go along for a laugh, so we went. And then we were just there. My mate goes, look, that's Rolf Harris over there. This was before he got into trouble. And it was Rolf Harris. He was there. His grandson was at the school, and he was doing some. He was making an appearance and did his gig, his didgeridoo and whatever. But yeah, it was
kangaroo
quite.
down sport. It's an allegation to rape. Allegory.
I've never seen such a neat beard on a man as I did on him. But
He
you
was into grooming, wasn't he?
yeah, but this was a few years before he got into trouble. So
we're learning a lot about paedophiles in this episode about mushrooms, aren't we?
Wow, maybe that's the magic of mushrooms. You want to talk about them, but the mushrooms decide that you're gonna talk about.
But mushrooms, though. Yeah, let's stop talking about paedophiles and get on to the subject of mushrooms, because mushrooms were hallucinogenic, and hallucinogenics were popular with rock stars, weren't they? Rock stars like Gary Glitter, and Pete Townsend. Oh, just don't do it again! Stop it!
Would you like me to give you a quick anatomy lesson on mushrooms?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay. The above ground part is the fruiting body or sporophore, so it's kind of like the penis of the mushroom.
You mean the mushroom part?
Yeah. And at the top you have the cap, which is the helmet. Underneath you have the gills, which are like japsai. Now out of them come the spores, which is like the jizz. And then you have the stem of the mushroom, which is like the shaft. Then there's the ring, which is like the foreskin. And then there's the vulva, which is like the base of the penis. And underneath the ground, you have the mycelium, which is kind of like the pubes.
The pubes, which are life-sustaining and do things and have a symbiotic relationship with plant roots, where the mushrooms will. What they'll do is they will wrap around the roots. And the plants will, certainly with trees, they will go and send sugar down the roots, and then the mushroom mycelium eats it up. And in exchange, they go and digest minerals from the ground and soil and what have you. And then you get so it's a symbiotic relationship, because like the mushrooms giving plants minerals which it otherwise wouldn't be able to digest, and the mushrooms in turn they got their sugars, so they don't have to go and digest wood like they do. So
also, there's bacteria involved. There's the nitrogen fixing bacteria, which allow the plants to take that up as well.
I had a dream about mushrooms. I just started to remember it. There's two things which was a bit weird in this dream. One of them was that I heard a song by Boards of Canada. I think it was Cold Earth. It's on their Tomorrow's Harvest album. And that's rare in itself, because I never normally hear music which isn't like my own composition. And so that I thought, okay, that's interesting. But the other thing is, I was looking at these mushrooms, but they were like growing really quickly, and there was these worms in them, and then they were putrefying, and then the mushroom would just grow again, and then it would, and it was getting rotten, and the worms were growing, and it was just trying to outgrow the rot. How come I almost completely forgot that?
What was the music?
It's Cold Earth by Boards of Canada.
Because for some reason, I've had several times I've dreamed about song, and I've heard the song playing "You Can't Hurry Love," the Phil Collins version, with the reverb turned right up. Dreams. So.
And then you find you've walked to school naked.
I never had the naked in school dream.
You never had that one.
No. I guess I'm not normal enough. I have to be
Yeah.
got to be pretty normal in the morning to have those sorts of dreams.
Which part of the mushroom fucks you up then and makes you trip?
I
Well,
think it's the cap on the psilocybin mushrooms. You know, that looks like a little nipple. It's that part, not mainly. It's got like it's kind of sticky, so it's got the it turns into psilocin when you ingest it.
and psilocybin. Right. Two different chemicals, although they're both quite similar in effect. And
Oh yeah, well, one turns into the other, I think.
oh yeah, that's right. And the other thing is, like, I think it's a molecular name, something like 4-MeO-DMT, and it's like, what? So you mean it's like dimethyltryptamine? It's like, yeah, because these are hormones and they're all related in that regard. And so I found
Yeah, there are different forms of DMT, aren't there?
yeah, and so I think there was even someone saying, well, if you can smoke DMT, what if you were to extract psilocybin and smoke that? And the answer is, yeah, you can smoke psilocybin or vaporize it, and it does work, and it's similar but different to a DMT trip. So there you have it, guys. Don't do this at home.
Smoking and same with marijuana. When you eat it, it's different from smoking it because the digestion process changes the chemical. Whereas smoking basically puts the chemical straight into the bloodstream in its original form.
Well, the onset with the smoking is a lot more. It's a lot slower. Is that the way? Yeah. Sorry. When you're ingesting it, has Hemi gone off? Never mind.
Maybe he's having technical problems.
Oh yeah, I was just like, quick! Everybody start talking about their experiences with mushrooms and mescaline, and oh no, we did plants last episode, didn't we? So don't talk about mescaline in this episode because
have you picked mushrooms? I've not picked mushrooms in many years. Has anyone picked them lately?
in this country, I think it's illegal to pick the mushrooms, but if a gust of wind blows the Liberty Cat mushrooms into your mushroom picking basket and you are none the wiser, then that's all right. Oh no, you can pick them because
You're not allowed
anybody
to
can.
prepare them. You're not allowed to dry them out or something.
Yeah, so if they dry out, then you can't have them. But if they're wet, then it's all right.
You're allowed to write the theme tune, but not allowed to sing the theme tune.
Is it like that thing of saying, like, it's all right to piss in public so long as you do it in your own public conveyance and you pee against the rear passenger's wheel, because apparently that makes all the difference. You see, it's a legal loophole. You could just piss against your own cart wheel.
If you've got to go, you've got to go, though.
I remember that was one of the things, like with the Freeman on the land stuff, which my good friend Freeman on the Sand will tell you about. It's just like all this bullshit where you say, "Oh, I don't stand under" when a policeman reads you your rights, and he'd be like, "Oh, well, you used the magic code phrase. Well, you're free to go then, sir. Have a nice day."
You're allowed to walk your sheep through the village at 3 o'clock in the morning every Sunday or something.
What's the what's the freedom of the city mean? You know, when someone has freedom of the city.
You can walk around town with your cock out.
I thought it was. Is it something like you can drive your sheep through the town or something? Because Prince Andrew's had the freedom. Prince Andrew's had the freedom of York removed, doesn't he?
Who?
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew. He's had all his titles stripped.
Epstein's buddy.
He hasn't had sex with the woman that he gave 12 million quid to for not having sex with, and he denied it.
No,
Pizza Express.
He got they're just jealous, right? And they're having a go at him because he's unable to sweat. They're just discriminating on him for his lizard-like ability to not sweat.
Because he got his hands on a young bit of skirt.
See, this is anti-lizardist. That's what it is. It's the anti-lizard agenda. It's like, oh, he can't sweat, so we're just going to pick on him. It's not
these fucking reptile phobes.
Fergie was a lizard. No, Princess Anne, isn't it? Was a lizard. A leather. No, she's a leather, isn't it? Not leather. No.
No, she's a lizard.
Looks like it anyway.
Oh no, she's the one where she won't be interested in you unless you're a horse, according to Prince Philip. Who will be
To be fair, Princess Anne's the only decent one out of the fucking lot of them. She just keeps her head down, does her fucking shit, and keeps quiet about it, doesn't she?
Does her shit in the stables.
What about Prince Harry's wife? Don't you like her?
Meghan. Ugh.
Would you like throw one up her though?
Oh God.
I'm legally obliged to have
do it from
Meghan Markle.
Do it from behind though, so you don't have to look at it. You don't have to look at the mantelpiece while poking the fire.
Yeah, but I mean.
Well, Prince Edward, he's a friend of the theatre, isn't he?
Yeah, he was very nearly a confirmed bachelor, wasn't he? Is he a thespian? Yeah.
No, Princess Anne's a thespian. No, she's a lesbian. Lesbian.
Thespian.
Lesby friends.
Yeah.
So then, Hobbit, tell us more about mushrooms.
Yeah, so the mushroom.
In the theatre.
I thought that was a weird dream, and I mention it now because like two things which never happened to me in a dream. One is like it's a song that's playing, and I've never remembered an actual song like I recognise this song from real life. It's a real song. Although then we could get into the topic of are songs real and where do they really come from, and isn't it weird that something that's in your imagination you can start humming the tune for it and you can bring it to reality. I find that fascinating, but that's probably another thing. See, mushrooms are weird.
How about this one then? Our mistrust of mushrooms is summed up by the word toadstool. It's indiscriminately applied to many species of fungi all over the UK. Toads were once considered venomous, and so were toadstools. All of them were considered poisonous damp weeds, according to old herbalists.
Yeah, but the thing is, toads and toadstools, they are venomous, and like if you lick them, you will go weird. And yeah, these frogs are.
To be fair, a lot of these do look quite innocuous, don't they?
And a stool is also another word for a shit, isn't
poop.
It? So
yeah.
So if you lick that, that's double poison.
Toad poop. You don't want to lick toad poop, do you?
Yeah, so you got double poison there.
Yeah.
Double jeopardy. Did you know there's a Laetiporus is an edible wild mushroom that tastes almost identical to fried chicken, apparently.
Oh, is that called hen of the woods?
Possibly.
Chicken of the woods?
Is it called deadly webcap?
No,
Does it come in a bargain bucket?
Is it called death cap?
Kentucky fried mushroom.
How about destroying angel? Do you think it's that one?
No, it probably is not that one, Hemi.
What about funeral bell?
Yeah, the one which I thought was quite interesting is there's this one from Scotland, and so there's a class of mushrooms called.
How about the fool's funnel, which is also known as the sweating mushroom? Oh, that sounds horrible. These are the most. Yeah, the sweating mushroom. That's horrible, doesn't it?
What about the wizard sleeve?
Well, that's a very special type of mushroom.
So the symptoms of eating the sweating mushroom are it contains the toxin muscarine, which has many effects on the body when ingested, including excessive salivation, sweating, and tear production. In large doses, symptoms include abdominal pain, sickness, diarrhea, blurred vision, and laboured breathing. It can cause death in severe cases, but is rarely fatal in healthy people.
Well, okay, right. You're on the subject of this. I've just suddenly choked. Let's talk about.
Hey, this one sounds all right. Panther cap.
All right, let's not talk about it then.
Symptoms are intense sickness can occur after ingestion, but the main effects are on the central nervous system. They include vivid hallucinations, confusion, visual distortion, a feeling of greater strength. Delusions and convulsions can be fatal in rare cases, so have a bit, but don't have too much.
That's more like it. That's what I want out of a mushroom, though. That.
Yeah, that's the more the more poisonous version. That's That's
I like
the
the sound of the
sinister but less
contortions.
common sister to the flyer Garrick.
Mm.
Well, that's the one I wanted to talk about. It's got a toxin in it known as muscimol.
Ooh.
All right, so it's either muscimol ibotenic acid. One metabolizes into another, and here's the really like magic part that. So it is magic, as in if you take it, you're going to be sick, you're going to shit yourself, you're gonna see some stuff. So it's not nice. It doesn't taste nice. However.
That's the one with the classic red one with the white spots on it, isn't it?
Literally, if someone says draw a toadstool where you'd find the Smurfs, it's a fly agaric mushroom.
Why were the Smurfs always hanging around magic mushrooms?
If you ate the mushrooms, that's when you would see the Smurfs after you've.
Yeah.
And it's common depiction of fairies, elves, etc. over the years hanging around mushrooms, toadstools. It's to do with the hallucinogenic effect of the mushrooms.
Well,
you see little people. Yeah.
Later on, we could sort of touch on the subject of mushroom rings, fairy rings. But before we
Mr.
do
Trick.
that,
We actually missed a
did
trick
you ever
tonight.
Ian, did you ever play Curse of Sherwood on the Commodore 64? I think it might have been on the
No.
Spectrum as well if you had.
I
that
had
one.
Robin of Sherwood on the Spectrum. I remember I had that.
Oh, Curse of Sherwood, you were like a monk or something, and you could teleport from one place to another, but through mushroom rings.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that was
someone
good.
mentioned in the comments, Interdimensional Lizard mentioned about Super Mario. He ate mushrooms, and there's a toadstool in there as well, and he would grow physically bigger, so maybe he became spiritually enlightened. Ate his
And
mushrooms.
on Magic Roundabout, was there not some mushroom connotation as well? I think the sugar cubes they would eat were represented of acid, and Dylan, the rabbit, was quite clearly stoned. He was clearly stoned. Well, he was stoned, wasn't he? It's obvious. So I can't remember though. Was there a mushroom connotation? I cannot remember. Probably.
was it Zebedee was the pusher? No, Zebedee was on speed. No, it was Dougal
Yeah.
that was the pusher. Who was the one?
Google was the one that would eat the sugar cubes.
Oh,
I believe.
okay.
That was the dog, wasn't it?
Who was the pusher then? Was it the girl? No,
think
it was
so.
the one that operated the magic roundabout. But circling back onto Fly Garrick, the magic toadstool, right? So the thing is, right, proper magic. This is the magic part. It's not the fact that you can see funny colours and it makes everything go neon fluorescent, wibbly wobbly. It's if you can get around all of that, right? You will, even if you're sick, you will still have the ibotenic acid in your bloodstream, which means it then goes into the kidneys. The kidneys don't break it down, so you've got ibotenic acid in your piss. Now, here's what the magic is, right? And they're like shamanism in ancient Europe. This is proper pagan hours, right? What the shaman does is he pees into a gourd, and then everyone drinks it, or alternatively, he pees up against a tree, and then reindeer will come from miles and miles around to lick the pee and then get high off of it. And when they're high, they're not skittish like they normally are, so you can just go up to it and break its neck, and now you've got free reindeer food for the rest of the winter.
Yeah, I think we touched on this on the Christmas episode, because it's kind of origins of the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer story, and Santa having his red and white garb to sort of represent the agaric mushroom.
Well, this could be. You never know when it's someone's first episode, and welcome to our paranormal investigation show.
I've put a
we
playthrough
talk
of
about
Curse of
magic.
Sherwood.
Oh yeah.
I've put a playthrough of Curse of Sherwood on the
It's
screen.
good. Is it a bit like
Oh, look, there you go. Look, there he is, going through the mushrooms in a second.
Lunar Jetman?
Lunar Jet Man?
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
called
similar to
fairy rings.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
circles.
I played Jetpack. I thought that was a good game because like most of the
Yeah.
games on the Specky were a bit shit.
But
I mean-
consider they were easy to copy though, weren't they? You could have lots of games, so that's the thing with the Spectrum.
They used
But
to be
Jetpack
Sorry,
was
go
good,
on.
but Lunar Jetman I think was the sequel to it.
Well, I always never had like nostalgia going like, oh, I'm going to get a Specky emulator and play like Specky games again. I've never had that sort of nostalgia urge.
No.
Yeah.
I find computer games are too. I get addicted to them, so I don't bother with them.
Oh well,
Same with gambling, and heroin.
I can sympathise with that. I'm playing Dyson Sphere programs with this
Yeah,
week.
no,
I really like
spent a
it.
year playing a game once, and I thought, shit, there's a year. I just lost a year. So
Ah, well, you'd have only spent it in the pub or something. So
I prefer to spend it in the pub. So I saved a lot of money though.
I remember seeing there's this thing about like a woman, and she was asking this man, saying like, how much like beer and stuff do you drink in a week? He says, oh, about like 12 pack or so. It's like, so you're spending on average like 20 euros a week on alcohol. Well, if you'd saved up this much time, you'd have got a yacht.
Apparently
Alright,
this game is sick.
So, woman, you don't drink. No, I don't. Where's your yacht then?
Exactly.
Yeah. See?
So, wouldn't have much fun. And you'd have a
Yeah.
yacht, and you'd have no fun memories to look back
Oh
on.
no, he got shotted and died.
Well, you got a yacht, but now you can't afford beer money to put beers into your yacht. So what's the point in having a yacht?
Unless you're...
Hey, now you
wasn't
need
it-
to go back for the ice staff. Sorry, mate. I'm just.
Unless you're Jeff Bezos, you have like a yacht built, and then a nearby bridge had to be dismantled so it could actually leave the shipping yard.
Dickhead.
Are you actually playing this game, or is this a?
No, it's a playthrough on YouTube.
Right.
That crossbow guy
Devil.
smoked him, apparently.
Smoke his ass.
Yeah, it's a game I used to play when I was a kid. This is.
Yeah, pretty good. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it's called
But-
Curse of Sherwood.
Oh yeah. So,
They obviously
anyone that
didn't have the rights to Robin Hood. They just used
Robin
the
Hood
name
Sherwood,
Sherwood, didn't they,
yeah,
to
that
hook people
shit.
in? Yeah.
It was a shit program.
Oh, that was good. It was a bit. It got a bit
You like it,
pagan-y
directed-
mystical, didn't it?
Directed by Dennis Waterman, who is no longer with us.
Uh,
But no,
Sing
as
the
I
theme
said,
tune.
though, earlier, yeah,
Play the theme tune,
and
sing
all
the
that
theme
shit.
tune.
I thought it was a bit shit.
Oh, this is the bit I hate
Um,
coming up in a minute. It's where you have to go. You have to navigate through the swamp.
But anyway, back to what I said earlier, though. Has anyone picked mushrooms lately? Gone to a field and with a plastic bag and that?
No.
It
Not the
used to
right
be
season
kind of
for it, isn't it?
October, November time, didn't it?
Yeah. Have you done it in recent
Oh
times?
no, he's got sucked into the swamp.
I thought there might be some in my garden at some point, but I never actually tested them.
I think maybe that when I worked at the hotel to grow on the golf course, didn't pick them. No, I should have done.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long
Maybe you
time since I've done mushrooms. The last time was that time I took them and watched that Killer Tongue movie.
No, in Thailand you could buy them in the over the counter in the bars, and you could buy a mushroom milkshake, which would knock your head off.
Do you remember they used to be legal in the UK to sell? You could buy them like Camden High Street. Then they were changing the laws, and one day there was suddenly this mad rush of mushrooms on sale.
Closing down sale. Everything must go.
Yeah, there was a bar there in Camden, but you could it was just sort of like it was like a herb shop or whatever in the day, and then in the night it would turn into a bar, and you could just buy mushrooms in there, and that was pretty good. But yeah, great days.
I don't know why do they make them illegal?
I don't know.
I mean, recent studies are showing that they're good for treating like PTSD and all sorts of things.
Migraine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's
Like,
closed the portal of
used to
evil.
I used to suffer with migraines, and it's not just mushrooms, but it's also LSD, which is derived from the ergot fungus. So effectively, it's a type of mushroom. But ever since I've done LSD a number of years ago, almost a decade ago now, I've not suffered a migraine since.
Since you've stopped doing it, or since you've taken it?
I since I've taken it, so it's provided me years-long relief from migraines. So if you suffer migraine, don't take it. Don't take it.
Hobbit, you're not supposed.
Migraine.
You're not supposed to
That's
offer
gonna-
medical advice. Hobbit.
Oh, right. Yeah. So I'm not offering medical advice, but
Not a doctor.
no, we don't have to do that thing because we're not American. No, that's an American thing.
We're not talking about the Pfizer vaccine, so we don't have to worry about it.
There are studies. In fact, I could even read the articles. Why don't I get that? I have got this
What the
article
fuck?
here.
You seen?
saying
You know the
future
death
space
cap.
travel might require mushrooms.
You know the death cap. Initial symptoms include vomiting, diarrhea, severe abdominal pain from 6 to 24 hours after ingestion. Causes kidney and liver failure. Ingestion of just half a cap can lead to death.
And where do you get these?
They are most deadly fungus known, and it's common to England. It's responsible for most fatal mushroom poisonings worldwide. It's in broad-leaved woods where it grows on the ground, and it's August to November.
Yeah, so don't eat that mushroom.
Yeah, don't.
In fact, if you're not sure,
The only
about
trip,
it, just
the only
leave it
trip you'll
alone.
be, the only tripping you'll be doing with that is a trip to the fucking morgue.
Don't
Yeah,
eat yellow
Apparently-
snow either.
Apparently, it tastes really nice though. So someone's obviously tried a little bit and survived.
Fucking
Maybe it tastes like
dick,
fried chicken as well.
madman.
Maybe that one tastes like McDonald's.
Yeah, cheeseburger.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
um,
What other mushrooms have we got then to that
Well, I was
fuck you
gonna
up?
I was gonna say I could read the article on. Let me just find it. Oh, I'm going to keep that tab open. I can open another tab. I've got enough RAM. I can afford it. So if I type in magic, no, not P magic, magic mushrooms migraine study. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, so this is from massivescience.com. Why don't I put the link in the thing and then other people can read along when I'm doing it? So I'll read the article. Headaches and migraines cost the world over $150 billion a year. Migraines are debilitating, normally leading to loss of ability to focus due to the pain. The migraines I've had, I would not wish on my worst enemy. Really, I wouldn't. They're not something which a human being should ever have to suffer, and yet
And they're also a really great excuse for not going into work.
Bad backs and migraines. The two things you can't prove.
You have to be careful though. You can overdose on mushrooms, but you're not likely to die. An overdose or a bad trip can be an intensely difficult experience. Ingesting the wrong type of mushroom can be fatal. If it is poisonous. So
What about if you get full
No,
up? If you get full up
That's
on
what it says here.
mushrooms, there's not much room, is there?
yeah, but it's not an overdose. You can take a normal amount, and
Well,
that can still lead to a bad trip.
if you experience the following, then you've taken an overdose, which is anxiety and panic attacks, vomiting and diarrhea, agitation, paranoia, psychosis, seizures, and coma. So if that's what's yeah, so you know, it's we make light of it, but it can have a serious side. So we just need to make that clear.
All right.
So they simulate a kind of schizophrenic effect, which is why
Yeah,
it's not viable for schizophrenics to take mushrooms.
And schizophrenic, like the Yorkshire Ripper, who was a paranoid schizophrenic. So,
They induce synesthesia in higher doses, and synesthesia is apparently similar to schizophrenia in its effect.
and it can
Well, you can
cause
hear colours and that kind of thing.
and it can
Yeah.
cause diarrhea as well. So
Well, bear in mind, like the mushrooms which people pick, that you'll find them in cowpats, and so there's a reason they taste like shit. Not that I would know. And so this article, migraines and stuff. Neurology researchers recently tested how magic mushrooms, or more precisely psilocybin, the naturally occurring psychedelic compound found in them, relieves pain. 10 study participants who regularly deal with migraines took a low dose of the drug, which is low enough to not trip. Oh, right, so you didn't need to do what I did, but I did it anyway. And I'm telling you, from my experience, it worked. But that's just anecdotal evidence. That's not really a double-blind study.
Actually,
you can't do a double-blind study on LSD. You definitely know when you've taken it.
No one's going to fund a double-blind study on something that grows naturally that they can't market, are they?
No. It's like you might have a placebo, you might have some LSD. We'll let you know in an hour.
In 2012, a 24-year-old female died following a cardiac arrest 2 to 3 hours after consuming magic mushrooms. So,
I heard there was this American tourist, and she was in Amsterdam. She's like, I'm going to do a bunch of magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
And then she decided what a really sensible thing to do would be to go into a canal, because they got no railings there. So she went into the canal, and then she drowned and died. And then the Dutch said, right, that's it, no more magic mushrooms.
Really?
But they said, no, it's okay to grow the mycelium, but if there's any fruiting bodies, like the mushrooms, then that's illegal. So
when was this then? When was this? Because it's, did they not sell mushrooms?
2003, it was some...
Another example of one fucking idiot ruining it for everyone else.
Specifically, one American woman. Let's just be specific.
American woman.
So
I was going to say that.
The last time I went on a fucked up weekend to Amsterdam was around that time, and I did take magic mushrooms. We did buy magic mushrooms.
So did you sell magic mushrooms to that bin? Is that what you're saying, Ian?
No, I took them and it was really good, but you could buy them quite openly.
It would be a yank. Well, why is it Yanks fuck everything up for everyone?
They can't handle their drink. They can't handle their shrooms. Simple as.
Yeah.
Now,
and they think they're the best at everything.
They really do, don't they? But there's a documentary about it. There's two Dutch brothers. And they're the only ones who apparently have got a license to grow shrooms. But what they do is they don't let it get to the fruiting stage. So what happened with any type of mycelium is if the conditions aren't right for it to do mushrooms, it makes a truffle. I mean, some truffles are highly sought after. They're worth more than their weight in gold. And they're quite salty. I'm not sure if that's like natural or if they just put them in brine or something, but I've never had a truffle which didn't taste like really salty. I don't know what that is. But the
maybe someone spunked over them.
Well, I remember once I was having this really nice meal with my grandparents, and the starter was cantaloupe melon with truffles all around it, and my nan gave me her dish because she said, I can't eat, it's too salty. And I had like 1.5 of these dishes because I was like, I know how valuable this is. But
your grandfather was sniggering and looking at you as you were eating.
Oh, no, he was enjoying his meal.
Okay.
But yeah, I just found it was really bloody salty. But anyway, so they do sell magic truffles now, which it's still got psilocybin in it. But it's not a mushroom, so yeah. Anyway, the neurologist did run a double-blind placebo trial. Oh, but yeah, you're not tripping on it, so that's why. The gold standard for testing the effectiveness of a drug. Those given psilocybin showed a much larger decrease in the number of migraines 1 week after being given the drug compared to the patients given the placebo. The participants also showed no serious side effects in this small study. Low-dose psychedelics are proven to be effective therapeutics in neurology and are inching towards legalization. legalising it.
Legislation.
Yeah,
Legalization.
yeah, that's it. To make them
Cross-nation.
a legal status.
Station.
Fucking legislation. How does that work? I bet.
Why are words so difficult to pronounce?
What is legislation anyway, Hubbard?
I just get confused with these words. Well, they're saying
Princess
that
Anne. Princess
should
Anne is a
make these-
legislation.
yeah, exactly. So, could magic mushrooms hold the key to bring about a lasting cure to mysterious migraines?
Yeah.
We'll have to wait to find out, but the results look promising. And that was published in 2020. Well, I remember this article from 2012, or even earlier than that. So, this is not a new thing. Although, maybe it is a new thing.
Who's funding this? Because usually it's the pharmaceutical companies that market the product, and they're the ones that run the trials, so they're essentially marking their own homework.
Yeah, but in this case, probably the people funding it was an organisation called MAPS, which isn't be confused.
Oh, how about this then, Hobbit? The term mushroom and its variations may have been derived from the French word mousseron in reference to moss.
Yeah, what's
Mousse.
funny about that is they don't call it a mousseron, they call it a champignon. So
Yeah.
And also, a mousseron is French for an ugly girl as well, isn't it? She's a right mousseron, she is.
Les mousserons, ils sont dégueulasses.
Yeah.
On n'aime pas les mousserons ici. Yeah. No, we certainly don't like it up them. But there is an organisation now. What does MAP stand for? Let me find out. It's
Minor
something
attracted
about
persons.
magic mushroom attracted persons. Perhaps. Psychedelics. The psychedelic research. Maps.org. So what does MAP stand for?
Do you guys think it's likely obvious that there's a substance in nature as good as, if not better than, any pharmaceutical? Not quite sure what the question means.
Well, I think the problem is, and it comes from patent medicine, where you can't just patent a herb or a naturally occurring substance because it's like, well, the prior art is it exists in nature. But what you can do is you can make a derivative of it or a standardized extract.
A synthetic version, yeah.
Or a synthetic version, and then say, well, I've got this synthetic version and it's a novel substance, therefore I can patent it, so that can be marketed. And as a consequence, then people don't go... here's an example. This is an anecdote, Tara, right? But one of my friends was a palliative care nurse, and he worked with a woman who had the disease which causes a fraying of the myelin insulators.
Hey,
in
what
the
do you think
nerve
to this one?
axons.
This blue one?
So, this disease where your nerve endings, they're conductive and they send signals around your body, and they have insulators just like wires do. And if that insulation frays, you get pain in those areas. And the NHS, for people of this, whose name I forget, by the way, what it's called, they prescribe them.
Oh, you seen this one?
called
There's a mushroom. This one here.
Sativex.
This one here. There's a mushroom growing through asphalt.
Yes, they'll do that. So Sativex is a compound. It's got THC in it. But as he told me about his patient. They said they still get cannabis because it's not as good as the real deal. It's too harsh. It's too strong. So I mean, you know, it's supposed to be like one pump of the spray gives you one standard dose, but because it's not got all the ancillary cannabinoids which aren't patented or what have you, then it's not done. But I'm on the MAPS website here now, and it says it's...
Have you ever heard of a smart shop? A smart shop is a retail establishment that specialises in the sale of psychoactive substances, usually including psychedelics, as well as related literature and paraphernalia. The name derives from smart drugs, a class of drugs and food supplements intended to affect cognitive enhancements, which are often sold in smart shops. I've never heard of a smart shop before.
They used to be called head shops, but then the name got a bad rap, so they changed it to smart shop.
Oh, okay.
Because you can't get head there.
Is that another Mumbai then? Is it, Hobbit?
They used to be common,
it's a
didn't they? They used to be
rebranding.
common, yeah.
It's rebranding. So MAP stands for Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, and they fund a lot of research into using psychedelics for medicinal purposes. And the problem with it is, especially in America, but also here in the UK as well, is often these substances are Class A, and in America they have a scheduling. So Class A over there, I think it's equivalent to Schedule 1, and part of the classification says no medicinal purpose whatsoever.
Well, I think in New Jersey they're now legal. Certain states are, you know.
What? Magic mushrooms?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Believe so. Look, I'll double check.
Remember that legal weed you could buy?
Oh,
about
what
10
spice?
years ago. Was it
God.
spice? It's fucking horrible.
That,
Yeah, but
that's-
I bought it on. I bought some online. It was strong. Didn't last very long. But you got a hit out of it.
Yeah, that stuff was killer, though. I mean,
Did you
it
know
was,
mushrooms used to be the main dye for wool before synthetic dyes?
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
well, I thought they'd use leaves. So what colours do you get from?
Well, so the chromophores of mushroom dyes are organic compounds that produce strong and vivid colours. All the colours of the spectrum can be achieved with mushroom dyes. Before the invention of synthetic dyes, mushrooms were the source of many textile dyes.
Didn't know that.
And have you ever heard of fire starters? Some fungi,
weird.
types of polypores, loosely called mushrooms, have been used as fire starters, known as tinder fungi.
Oh yeah, that one's a good one. Maybe you could get a video of a Tinder polypore.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
So a
at
grinder version.
Grind.
Tinder polypore. Oh yeah, no, the Bumble version is what you want.
Bumble.
The Baidu Bumble.
Oh, the world's
okay.
largest mushrooms. You know, we're talking about big stuff.
Well, the world's largest organism is a mushroom. Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
that?
It's in a Virginia forest. It's hundreds of acres big, and it's all one organism. It's not separate.
There's one in southern China that's 10.85 meters long by 84 centimeters broad by 5 centimeters
That's
thick.
Mushroom itself. Like
That's
the,
a Phelinus. That's a Phelinus ellipsoideus.
Polonius
You could-
monk.
Yeah.
And you could have multiple mushrooms affected by mycelium that are all kind of considered one organism, I suppose, couldn't you?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
So the thing is, this forest in Virginia, where like the same mycelium is connecting them all up, effectively those trees could be considered one organism because it's symbiotic. I had this like
Is that like the tree from Avatar?
yeah, sure, why not? We'll go with that analogy.
That's a big organism.
Yeah, with those weird penis things that you connect to.
What I was going to say the
weird
organic
vagina in your
USB
hair.
ports.
The weird vagina in your hair.
Weird docking that goes on.
Animal
it's organic
docking. There's a lot of
USB,
animal
isn't it?
docking that goes on, isn't there?
Why did the mushroom go to the party?
Because he was a fun
was a
guy.
He's a fun guy.
Alaska.
Because it was a yeah, right.
Fun guy.
Jamaica.
Do we want this article on
Jamaica.
mushrooms for space travel?
Yep, sounds good.
Do you know, that reminds me of The Ringing Cedars of Russia, this book series, which I may have mentioned once or twice on the show before. I think I got away with it, though.
Hardly ever hear you mention it, I bet.
Yeah, I know. And in it, the woman, she was saying that the flying saucers are actually mushrooms. They're grown. To be,
Are we
they're
turning
not-
into the Joe Rogan show? Are you going to tell us how the Bible's really about magic mushrooms? Are we going full Joe Rogan on this?
I do want to circle back onto June in a bit, and we'll be talking about that. But no, I don't know about that sort of stuff, so I won't comment. Right.
Well, he was
mushrooms.
on Smudcast once, and he was saying the Bible is literally just like the roadmap to growing mushrooms.
Well, yeah, but they don't really talk about aseptic technique and spore prints and.
Well, they did just in
pressure
code.
cookers and
Just in code. They had to hide it.
right.
And how something about how Jesus is like a metaphor for manna, which is God's jizz or something.
Yeah.
What if Jesus was actually a mushroom?
Fucking Jesus, how does he work?
Does anybody know? But yes, so are mushrooms the future for space travel? The list of mycologists. That's someone.
Yeah, I've seen. No, I haven't seen Discovery. I know about Discovery. I haven't watched. No, I'm not going to admit to watching it because I haven't. They use the Spore Drive, don't they, in the later series?
What the hell are you on about, Jesse?
Discovery. Star Trek Discovery. STD.
Oh, STD. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
STD. Yeah.
Look, I know nothing about. I watched the first episode. It wasn't for me. And if you,
I only know because I listen to other people who've watched it on my behalf. God bless them. They deserve all the goodwill in the world.
Mate, I mean, like.
Yeah, they have a Spore Drive. Hold on, let's see if I can explain. Let's find out this. Carry on
Whilst
talking.
he's looking up the Spore Drive, the list of mycologists is name unknown, beyond their fungal field is short, and at its apex is Paul Stamets. Educated and long-time resident of the mossy, mouldy, mushy, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he's done some books about mushrooms, and he's good at that stuff, and he knows a lot about it. And he also uses mushrooms.
Hobbit, are you ready? Are you ready
walls.
for some word salad?
Well, shall we do... Yeah, okay, actually, because this article's really bloody long.
The Spore Drive is the common term for a displacement-activated spore hub drive, an organic propulsion system which utilises the mycelium spores of Prototaxites Stella Viatori. It allowed a vessel to instantaneously jump to any point in the universe. Both the Federation and the Klingons covertly used this technology during Burnham's War to gain advantage over the other side. The technology was no longer in use by the 2260s. In the 25th century, the Iraqi make limited but technically advanced use of spore drives on some of their ships due to their origin in the mycelial network.
Everything you've just said sounds like farting and like twerking over the corpse of something that was once good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, as far as I understand it, what the Spore Drive is hang on, are we in the second hour yet? Yes, we are. That stupid nigger bitch called Michael Burnham twerks, and then they go into warp.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. The Spore Drive is like her firing out her STDs everywhere, and that's why they call the show STD. So now you know about Star Trek, guys.
So, do you want some more word salad? Do you want the background to the Spore Drive? The technology was developed by Justin Strahl and Paul Stamets, jointly deployed on the USS Glenn and the USS Discovery.
Right, so did you just say Paul Stamets?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Paul Stamets, because this article is about Paul Stamets, mycologist, who's talking about his current research proposal.
Well, obviously, because they have literally zero fucking talent on the on the writing staff of this. Like, they literally had to call him Paul Stamets because their imagination had broken.
I'm thinking at least somebody in the writing crew goes like, "Hey man, I saw Paul Stamets on that Netflix documentary. Yeah, he's pretty mainstream, right? I'm going to make a Reddit thread about him." Ooh,
A Reddit thread or Star Trek Discovery script, as we call it.
Yes. Oh my god, STDs is terrible. But if you want to vision the future, imagine a nigger bitch shaking and twerking her ass over a corpse forever. That is. But anyway, Paul Stamets. Best fungal species for breaking down asteroid regolith. You currently have any possible candidates. Basically, regolith is asteroid dust. Research teams have conducted synthetic regolith constructed synthetic regolith, which is supposed to mimic the components that are found on the surface of asteroids and on Mars. So we're working with them now. I have a suite of about 700 strains of fungi in my cultural library. I made some recommendations, and I'm happy to say oyster mushrooms are one of the best ones that we experimented with on the regolith so far. Oyster mushrooms, they grow on the side of dead trees. Tastes quite good, actually. And we recently found something synergistically. It was unexpected when we took one species, gave it a nutritional source, and once it's now found to grow in the regolith.
Hobbit, I've got to just like, this is crap. Listen to this. Imagine a microscopic web that spans the entire cosmos, an intergalactic ecosystem, an infinite number of roads leading everywhere.
I mean, why can't these guys just go, okay, we got some ideas for a show, so we're going to do this science fiction show and just not call it Star Trek? Why not do that? I mean, The Expanse, people say The Expanse is good. I mean, I don't know myself, but people who watch it like it. So why not just do that?
Well, why not have one thing fail when you can have two things fail, Hobbit?
Yeah, and then there's like the Star Trek. Oh God, we need some credibility. Let's get Patrick Stewart out for retirement.
Yeah.
Also known as Star Trek venereal disease.
Have to conform to the woke release these days, so it's just
because you need. Someone mentioned tardigrades in the chat, but you need tardigrades to make the Spore Drive work up.
Actually, when they experimented with tardigrades, they put them into space and found out that they were reproducing in the vacuum of space. Israel
smashed a spaceship into the moon, didn't it? And spilled tardigrades everywhere, didn't it?
Well, the literal plan was like, hey, we got this parasitic organism here, and we're just gonna like send it to the moon because the moon.
No, it wasn't. The Israel mission wasn't manned, Hobbit.
Look, the thing about the moon will not survive without tardigrades. The diversity of the moon's just not enough. It needs some tardigrades on it.
It's too white. It's too white. It's too stale.
It's too grey.
Yeah.
It needs.
Do you know that Jordan gave birth to a retardigrade?
Oh, it's funny, but it's also cruel.
It's not nice because we are Harvey respecters on this channel.
Well, I'm just waiting for Harvey to do the honourable thing and put everyone out of our misery and put an end to the menace that is Katie Price. And one day I'm sure it will happen. Harvey will have had enough of her bullshit, and we won't have to suffer anymore.
Oh yeah, this is what I was going to say. This is the target. This tardigrade. But so I was talking earlier about the USS Glenn and the USS Discovery. The Glenn managed to perfect the drive through the acquisition of a creature referred to as a tardigrade. However, the Glenn's crew, along with Stroud, were all killed in an accident that ensued during a failed job.
We're going to have a poll. Chat. Right. So the poll is: press 1 if you want to hear about STDs.
Yeah.
Press 2 if you want to hear about asteroids.
You can make a poll, Hobbit.
Mushrooms.
You can make a poll, Hobbit.
Can you?
Yeah.
Right, let's see. How do I...
Where have polls gone?
Toggle time is set.
Can you not create one, or is it only me?
Emojis? No, I think you have to create a poll, but... No, you just get people in the chat to press 1 or 2, and then you look at it. It's like, do you want to hear more chat about STD? Or do you want to hear about asteroid mining?
There you go. We've got a poll now. More STD, yes or no?
Yeah. So.
What type of creature is it? Is it
it's just a hook-nosed parasite, which once it gets into a system, it's very difficult to get rid of.
Chat one. Oh no, 50-50 now, right now.
They look cool.
No.
If you see them in. If you look on images of them.
Oh yes, cool. 60 STD's winning, Hobbit.
All right, well, chat has spoken. That's fine. I thought it was quite interesting that this thing. I thought, but that's okay. We can talk about it another time.
No, you won't talk about it. I'm joking. I bet.
Yeah.
Star Trek Invert Expectations is what it should have been called.
You also need to show the people at home what a mushroom looks like when picking. What to look for.
I have had them
for.
up. I have had them up, the most poisonous ones.
Ready, and people know what to look for, and at what time of year.
I didn't go through the top. Oh, it keeps changing between yes and it's currently no.
So some of the chat want to hear more about STD with twerk bitch Michael Burnham, and some of the chat wants to hear about Paul Stamets and his work on using.
We just heard about Paul Stamets because he invented the Spore Drive.
Yes, and using mushrooms or mycelium to break up asteroid reglyph for asteroid mining, which is, if space is real, you could do this.
Voted in the chat. I'm not going to tell you my vote though, as is my right.
That's it. We don't do open ballots here on Fortean words.
It's the final answer is no, Hobbit.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. So let's hear more about Michael Burnham. Who's the most attractive woman in STD? Have you seen that really
Tilly.
fat bitch?
Is it Tilly? Is her name Tilly? Isn't it? Is it Tilly?
What?
Is it? Is it Tilly, the fat bitch?
I don't know, but every episode she gets bigger. And I saw a picture and I thought it was Photoshop. She's leaning over a console.
Yeah.
And she's enormous. I mean, she's even bigger than that fat bitch they put in Cosmopolitan. What's her name? With the massive tattoos and stuff.
Tess
Holiday.
That's it.
So I'm looking at this massive fat bitch there, and I'm thinking to myself, well, Starfleet. I know they try and pretend in Starfleet that they're not a paramilitary organisation, but they're a paramilitary organisation. They get through more fighting than any navy in the 20th century.
Well, the thing is, like, you thought that Next Generation exterminated a lot of species. Well, like, Michael Burnham's nothing compared to them. Like, literally in universe extermination squad, isn't she, Hobbit?
So, I think we can all agree here that Starfleet is a paramilitary organisation. And I don't know about you, but paramilitary organisations, they tend to have...
that song by The Firm, we come in peace, shoot to kill, shoot to kill, shoot to kill. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
It's worse than that. He's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead, Jim.
It's like Jim, but not as we know it. Not as we know it. Not as we know it. Like Jim, but not as we know it. Not as we know it indeed. Just clingers on the Starboard bow. So, yeah. Starfleet would probably have minimal physical, they'll be like, are you physically capable of doing your job? When hostile aliens start invading, is your plan to sit on them? I'm saying a fat cunt like that wouldn't be in Starfleet, and also, couldn't they just go, you're going into the transporter and we're beaming out all your fat into space?
Yeah.
They'd have the technology to not be fat.
Yeah, surely they'd be able to shave. They'd be able to lose excess skin with the transporter.
And would she float if it's zero gravity? Would she still float, being that size?
That's the thing as well. It's like,
well, she jumped in the air and got stuck.
Because she has her own microgravity, Ian. So that's how you get around that. But the thing is, like, I remember Patrick Stewart in a thing saying, like, well, you're bald in the 24th century. Couldn't they just, magic up some hair onto you? And he did say, well, maybe in the 24th century it won't matter if someone's bald. But it definitely matters that someone's a fatty bum batty that can't fit into a Jeffries tubes. Because if you can't fit into a Jeffries tubes and the ship's under attack, what the hell are you going to do in there? Honestly, mate. What are you going to do?
Stuck and everyone will slam on top of her, won't they?
You're just going to get stuck.
What's a Jeffries tube, anyway?
It's a tube for Jeffrey to crawl around the ship when aliens are invading.
Well, it's a Jeffries tube. It's not a fucking Tilly's tube, is it?
Basically, the air ducts, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. It's
They
also,
were massive,
like,
those
the
air
service
ducts were. They were
complex.
crazy. You could literally walk around in there. They were fucking insanely big.
Yeah, I think bit of a design flaw that.
Yeah, why did they like waste all that space in between the things?
I think it's probably something to do with you want decent airflow, and it turns out in order to get decent airflow, you need pretty wide ducting in order to do it.
What, wide enough to walk around?
Yeah, actually, especially in the bigger ones.
It's a common trope, isn't it, where people creep around air ducts to spy on and shit like that. And
Yeah, those HVACs fucking they wouldn't hold a person's weight, would they?
Tell you what, you know that if we're going to
lazy
talk about
writing.
Yeah.
mushrooms in fiction, what about the Super Mario Bros. Film? Because
Yeah.
okay, I understand that film apparently did so poorly that Nintendo have been scared off ever making a film again. But I liked the Super Mario film. Do you remember, like, everything was covered?
I've never
in the
watched
weird...
it.
You've not watched it,
No.
I'll see. It's
right? So in it, Bob Hoskins and some Italian actor are like
John Leguizamo.
Mario and Luigi, and they are actually plumbers in the film, and they get like trapped in this toilet, and they get magicked into this sort of weird realm where Bowser's.
They should have
looks a
made the
lot
film
like
with that geese that used to introduce the cartoons during the 80s.
Well, that's the thing. That like Bowser, I thought it was Max Headroom because it looks like Max Headroom. I'm not sure if it's the same actor, but it is around about.
What's the
that
difference
sort of
between
era.
Bowser and King Koopa? King Koopa, is it?
I don't. I don't.
Why is it
Mario,
Princess Daisy and Princess Peach? Why is there like multiple princesses as well?
You'll have to ask somebody that played Nintendo.
We need
as a
Mark
kid. I
Collett.
never
We need
did.
Mark Collett, don't we?
Yeah, but so back onto onto the Mario film. It was like the plot of it was like, well, there's this mushroom that's taking over everything. What with it being the Mushroom Kingdom,
Yeah.
and we need your help, Mario, because we don't know how to defeat it.
Does do plumbers know a lot about mushrooms then?
When was the Mario movie made? Let's find out.
What part of being a plumber is like? Does the
hard to understand.
yeah?
I was really put off by. I couldn't watch it. I was put off by it because I'd seen Street Fighter the movie, and I thought I'm not doing that again.
There's nothing wrong with Street Fighter the movie. That's unnecessarily maligned. Even the Judge Dredd film is unnecessarily maligned. That was a great film in its own way.
I quite like the Judge Dredd film.
I really do
no,
like
no.
it. It has its own charm.
Suppose, but as a reader of the comics, I was mortified by it. Whereas the more recent film, Dredd, that was
I
good.
regret not seeing that in the cinema. I really do.
Well,
I
they
thought it was
tried
gonna be
to
another
sneak it
kick
by. They go, oh
movie.
no, nobody wants to watch Judge Dredd, but nobody actually knows it's in the cinema. Yeah, but you didn't go and watch it. You didn't go and watch it, so we're not making another one.
Dog shit. Like if you watch the trailer, you think, "What the fuck is this shit? I'm not going to watch this. This is crap."
Yeah, it's like,
Just
why did they
all-
do everything possible to try and put you off it? They sneaked it into the cinema. They like I haven't seen the trailer, but you said the trailer's rubbish. It's like what? It's like
Carl Urban was a really faithful, I think, version of Dredd.
Yeah, he was. He was
Well,
good.
that's what I always find that.
Stuff was amazing.
I always find that Carl Urban lifts material because he always gives it his best, doesn't he?
Was he in the?
What?
He was in the Doom movie, but never mind.
Yeah.
You know, we can't.
I've heard Hemi looks a bit like Mario. Yeah, I do. I look just like Bob Hoskins.
You even sound like him.
Yeah.
The resemblance is uncanny.
Yeah. Raul Julia as M. Bison was good.
Here we go.
Kylie as Cammy.
Yeah. He that guy. Yeah, I think he died a while after that, but he.
Wasn't that his last movie appearance?
Yeah, he agreed to be in it because he knew his kids were a fan of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
His speech where that girl says, "Oh, you came and you killed everyone in our village," or something like that.
Oh,
And he
yeah.
said, "Oh, to me, that was just a Tuesday."
Yeah.
That was a really-
Oh, that was it. It's like for you, that was the most significant event in your life. For me, it was another Tuesday.
Yeah, but you knew it was a Tuesday, though.
Yeah, that was.
That's
also
what she should have said. She should have said, "Yeah, but you knew it was a Tuesday, though, didn't you?"
I
Lying
think
bastard.
That's the bit where they cut to a street fight because the film's called Street Fighters, so
Yeah.
they had to do some street.
Yeah,
fight.
Kylie was in it. Kylie was in it as Cammy. You know,
And Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes, he was in it
as
too.
Guile.
Yeah,
I thought, well, like, why would you make Guile a main character?
I think. I mean, like, wouldn't Dolph Lundgren have been a better Guile? But
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Someone with his hairstyle like Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice.
Ice baby.
He'd already been in one. He'd already been in one comic book movie, hadn't he? The Turtles.
Turtles,
Oh,
yeah.
does
I
he?
remember that. No, was it Turtles 3 or something? I
Yeah.
remember me and a friend. I think we were about 12 at a time, but we had to take his like 8-year-old younger brother to see the movie, and even at the time it was, oh my god, this is shit.
It was a bad film. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Weren't Bebop
that-
and Rocksteady in that? Or did they cop out of that? Or is that the one with the female turtle in? Because there's one live action that's got the female turtle in, hasn't it?
I don't know. Maybe that's the more recent one, the woke one, or the weird one where they're like aliens and not like mutated turtles or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
why would they do that? Why do they do anything?
All this
Why can't-
Hollywood shit is just like white noise to me at this point.
Why can't they just like look? That's what it is on the fucking page. Just to, like, this is a real fucking paranormal subject. Why can't they just put the thing that's on the page onto the fucking screen? Why can't they do that?
Because they have to be creative and
They
yeah,
want to put their signature on it.
Yeah,
so many people involved that everyone's scared. So the writers are scared they'll lose their jobs, so they have to be as woke as possible. And then
Yeah.
the director pitches in and changes things, and then the producers pitch in and change things, and then the end result just turns out to be like a fucking monstrosity.
garbage that nobody fucking likes. That's the thing, isn't it?
Everybody in
the
the
new-
committee signed off on it, therefore it's okay. So
Yeah.
even though it was a flop, who
The
cares?
committee,
Because
the committee have ruled on it.
the committee ruled it was all right, even though it was dog shit. Ergo,
Yeah.
it's all right.
Yeah.
Like the Lord of the Rings films, that was Peter Jackson's vision. He controlled everything, and
However-
they turned out quite well, I think.
However, do you know what the important thing Peter Jackson did in it? And I'm really glad he said this. He says, "Look, I was really tempted to put my own like creative twist on it and go, well, I think this is how modern audiences like." He didn't do any of that. He said, "No, because of respect for the fans, I have to make the film as authentic as possible, as true as I can to I was going to say J.R.R. Tolkien's vision." So for that reason and that reason only, it's the way it's written.
Yeah.
Oh, and,
but
it was-
And then he threw all of that out the window for the. Did he direct The Hobbit?
He did the Hobbit movies. The producers had a real big hold on it, and so they were like, "No, you have to stretch this out into 3 movies." And
Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
that
Like that
was
is
bullshit.
one movie to an absolute push.
Yeah,
it's like a inch thick book.
Yeah,
well, that's the thing. Like, The Hobbit is a tiny book, and Lord of the Rings has got like 3 big tomes, and then there's all the other ancillary stuff related to it. So it's just like, what, mate? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? You literally don't need to do this. But yeah, they were probably just like, oh, well, you had a lot of success with Lord of the Rings, so why not do this as well?
yeah. I never watched any of the Hobbit films. I thought
Watched
I'm
the
not getting
first
involved
one,
in it.
I watched the first one. I had hopes for it. And
Yeah, I watched it too, but then they cast that twat as Bilbo, and I'm like, oh, he's from The Office. I can't watch this.
I can't stand Martin Freeman. He ruined Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, he just plays.
No,
the
he's
same.
too young to be in Hitchhiker's Guide.
He was Arthur
I've
Dent.
seen that.
He played Arthur Dent, didn't he?
No, Arthur Dent was like, I don't know who the bloke was because I'm not too familiar with English actors from the 1980s.
He wasn't he Crichton or Talkie Toaster?
No, I don't know who it was, but I know for a fact that in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Martin Freeman was not in it. He would have been like 2 years old at the time, if that.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the film, Hammett. You not seen the film?
The film, I thought it was like a 4-part special.
Oh,
What are you
it
on
was
about?
No,
was
there
a
was a
series.
film.
There's
a film around early 2000s. There was a film of it. They recreated it.
After The Office.
Yeah, with a
Oh,
black
wow.
rapper, with a black
Yeah.
rapper as a black rapper as for prefect.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I didn't watch that. I think I'll pass, and I'm right in saying I'm passing on that. But nobody needs to see that. But Martin Freeman, like the only thing I'd expect to see him in is like Casualty or The Bill, as cast as a nonce. He'd be good at that. I think that's the role he was born for. If I was casting directors, like, we need Martin Freeman, we're playing Jimmy Savile.
You've got Steve Coogan for that.
Yeah. Steve Coogan, yeah, I can imagine him with, Steve Coogan could do it.
What? For
he is doing
prefect.
He is doing it.
Oh, right,
well, yeah,
Jimmy Savile.
But I'm also saying I could imagine him doing it. That seems like a role he could do. So what else? Oh, the plot for Super Mario Brothers. 65 million years ago, a meteorite crashes into the Earth, killing the dinosaurs and splitting the universe into 2 parallel dimensions. So, on the one hand, you've got the surviving dinosaurs, which cross into a new dimension, evolving into a humanoid race and founding the city of Dino Hatton.
Maybe it's the lizard people.
Does anybody remember
Yeah.
that TV sitcom about dinosaurs where they were like anthropomorphic?
remember that.
Yeah, it was
Does
called
it-
Dinosaurs.
Does anybody know? Because I never watched it, but I read about the last episode recently. The last episode is the asteroid hitting the Earth.
Yeah. That was hilarious. I loved that. I remember one time they had like a certain tradition, and they had to wheel the grandma out to die or something. It's really funny but quite profound.
Walking with dinosaurs.
They had it wasn't a parody. It was like a parody of Christmas. They were retelling the story, and it was like how the dinosaurs invented a refrigerator so that they could enjoy cold beer and cold cuts of meat.
It's very much modelled on The Simpsons. Like the teenage kid was very much like Bart. And
I would have thought at the time
Yeah.
it would have been the Flintstones would have been the inspiration for it. I would imagine
maybe I don't know.
The family Ness.
the family nest.
Oh yes. Yep. We're here all week.
If I didn't see it, there's
Do you remember? No, that's about elephants. That's something else.
An elephant.
1991 to 94. That's way before the Simpsons, isn't it?
No, Simpsons began in 1988.
Oh, did it?
No, 1989.
87.
Well,
On Tracy Ullman's show in
Oh right,
America.
I
Yeah.
didn't see that, but I do remember seeing like the first trailers for it or something.
The drawings were different.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it was a Tracy Ullman show, and they would be like, just before the ad break, they'd have these little Simpsons skits. And they became more popular than Tracy Ullman herself.
Yeah, I mean, who's heard of the Tracy Ullman show? I mean, that sounds ridiculous. Like that's like.
Was-
some
I remember-
stage shit.
It was
I
big
remember
in the
watching
80s.
it. I remember watching it on the telly box as a kid, and when the animated bit came on, I was like, "Wow, this is amazing!"
Yeah.
She used to do Three of a Kind with Lenny Henry.
Apparently, Dinosaurs was the most expensive half-hour TV show because of all the animatronics used in it. Do you remember when animatronics used to be a thing?
Yeah, and people use miniatures, and now it's just CGI bullshit.
Or should we say, remember animatronics used to be the thing, as in the film The Thing, which used animatronics. It works.
Practical effects are, to this day, I think, are still better than.
Well, they are,
CGI.
because
The Thing, American Werewolf in London.
they deserve the title special effects because they were special.
The thing with American Werewolf in London, though, you never see the whole wolf, do you? It's always sort of, you only see half of it because the other half is some guy holding some levers, moving it around.
Yeah,
you never. You only see a bit of the wolf on the screen because of the.
Yeah, but not just the wolf. I mean, the scene where it breaks out of the porn theatre and all the buses and stuff are crashing and everything's crashing each other. That was all practical effects and stuntmen as well.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
Yeah, the Rick Baker effects was something else, weren't they? The change in that. That got Rick Baker the job on the Thriller video, didn't it?
Yeah. No. I think the Thriller video came first, didn't it?
No. Thriller came after.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jackson saw American Werewolf in London, and that's where he got the idea, because he got John Landis to direct Thriller as well. Yeah. So whilst he wasn't sleeping with kids, he was watching horror films. Isn't it?
It always circles back, doesn't it?
Yeah, but he was only sleeping with kids. He didn't do anything to them.
Oh no, he didn't do anything. No.
He used to sleep on the floor. I sleep on the floor, never ever in the bed.
He just let Eric Cartman ride on his roller coaster.
Oh, no, wait, I'm thinking of Dances with Wolves. It's just like, isn't there a film called Sleeps with Kids?
Sleeps with Kids.
It's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah. No, Sleeps with Wolves is no, Dances with Wolves. It's not.
Oh right, so I found out the series finale of Dinosaurs. So in the series finale of Dinosaurs, entitled "Changing Nature," depicts the irresponsible actions of the dinosaurs towards their environment and the ensuing ice age, which leads to their demise.
That's what it is. It's like,
I think Pocahontas was a rip-off of Dances with Wolves, and Dances with Wolves was a rip-off of Avatar.
And Pocahontas was a rip-off of when Will Carlin had an affair with Princess Diana. Her Highness.
Alaska.
So
yeah.
So yeah, Mario and stuff. The girlfriend's called Daisy. She's digging dinosaur bones, but the mafia in Brooklyn are after them. So they chase after them. It's like, oh look, we've ended up in a portal to Dino Hatton, and there's mushrooms and the stuff. So
do.
Unexplained mysteries.
Do you want to do some?
What about the new movie coming out with Simon Pegg?
Can I just give a conclusion on mushrooms here?
As an Unexplained Mysteries movie.
I think we've discovered that mushrooms are quite interesting, but not very funny.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Mushrooms have a lot to answer for, basically. We're saying that mushrooms need to step up their game if they want to be respected in comedy and what have you.
Speaking of unexplained histories, I'm going to be back in a sec.
Oh, we got all sorts of things, like Castor found in hunt for long-lost Nazi treasure. Wow. Flight turns back after passengers receive plane crash photos.
What do you think of the hard-nosed walking car?
A walking car?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not a car then.
Oh, where do you want to start? giant squid washes up on beach in South Africa.
Well, the two which I'm seeing here is the Milky Way supermassive black hole seen for the first time. It literally bullshit. Or door found in Mars.
What the fuck? Flight turns back after passengers receive plane crash photos.
Yeah, I literally said that 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this one? We'll start with this one.
All right.
An airline flight from Israel to Turkey was forced to turn around after passengers received unnerving images on their phones. If there's one thing likely to put you off flying, it's someone sending you photographs of crashed planes, as evidenced this week by a peculiar incident we saw the pilot of an
hilarious prank.
Yeah, an Alonso Jet
prank.
737 turned around and landed shortly after takeoff because passengers had started receiving such images on their phones. According to reports, the images... So how did they get them?
Oh, yeah, that's the bit. It's like, you know...
It was later revealed the images had been sent via Apple AirDrop from the phones of 9 passengers aboard the flight. Oh,
so it was just
according to the local authorities, they were all removed from the plane and could face prosecution for disseminating false information. Well, what's false about the information?
Yeah, there's nothing false in it. Like, plane crashes have been known to happen in the past.
Well, that plane didn't crash.
Yeah, so what's the false information? That seems like
well, some of the recipients reacted...
to shit people up.
Some of the recipients reacted badly, with one woman fainting and another having a panic attack, and another woman was frozen and she fell out of a fridge.
Causing a riot. Like, if you yell fire or nigger in the theatre, you can cause a riot.
Yeah.
And you get done for inciting a riot. So surely it should be they should get done for inciting a riot.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get why it's disseminating false information, because they're not claiming that plane was going to crash.
No, that's
well, they're not sending pictures of that plane crash. They're, oh, look, this is this plane crashing.
Yeah, no, they've just done it up. It's a category C write-off, but they've just, changed the reg plates. What the fuck?
I don't know. Do you want to do about your mates at CERN, Hobbit?
What?
Your mates at CERN are off again. The standard model of particle physics may be broken. Do you want to explain this one?
No. Look, it's all bullshit. CERN is opening up a portal into hell. Demons are being let loose. Simple as.
Yeah.
And what about the film with Simon Pegg?
What film with Simon Pegg?
Let's put the link in the chat there. That's in the chat, the new film coming out.
The Talking Mongoose.
Oh, Nandor Fodor.
Mongoose.
Nandor Fodor.
Oh, yeah. Geff the Talking Mongoose, which you can see in Arkansas.
Arkansas. Jeff.
Also mispronounced as Arkansas, but in that case, why isn't it called Cansaw?
Nandor Fodor.
Because it sounds a bit like cancer, doesn't it?
Is that Blake from Game of Thrones coming back in it then?
Hodor.
Fodor.
I met the guy who plays what was his name, Samwell or Samwise?
Yeah. Samwell, I think, isn't it? Samuel Tarly, isn't it?
Samuel Tarly.
Yeah, that's the one.
Samwise is from the other fantasy series, the one that ended well.
Is he just as fat in real life?
Yes, he is. I don't know if it was him or his sister, because he said he was down there to spend time with his family. But he's got 5 beautiful Cocker Spaniels. They're really lovely dogs. Nice guy, by the way. He did give me a £5 tip. So,
£5?
A pound tip for what?
I delivered him a Chinese.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
So you don't want to talk about CERN then, Hobbit?
No, I really don't like CERN.
You're unconcerned.
You took the words out of my mouth. Thank you. Yep, I am very concerned.
Well,
about
there's a giant squid right next to a little boy.
Fair size.
Yeah, it's a good one. Normally they stretch them out, don't they?
It's not That's not a great version of a giant squid. I've seen bigger.
It's not that big.
Maybe it's a junior one, an infant.
So everything else
I mean,
is allowed to be giant, but not like giant bipedals. Which
You
is not
seen-
to be confused.
You've
with,
seen this
you know,
this weird optical illusion that this tunnel does.
Oh, we're not doing the dress again, are we?
I think it is a bit like the dress.
It bends to the left.
It looks like there's like a big drop off on it, but there's not. And it's it's a puddle of water that just happens to look like a big dip in it. Yeah. Well, that's shit, isn't it? Bizarre Bigfoot trap is still being maintained after 48 years. Would it be safe to say by now that it's not a Bigfoot trap?
It's a shit Bigfoot trap, if it is.
I could just imagine whoever's doing it, it's like saying, well, look.
Any
you're
day now.
saying it's
Any
in
day
effect
now.
a Bigfoot trap, but when I capture a Bigfoot, who will be laughing then? Huh? Huh?
Well, it's like Amy Schumer said. Amy Schumer told all her family she was being a comedian. They're not laughing now, are they? Oh yes, here we go. Is right up Ian Street, the thing that Ian faked while he was up there. New Loch Ness monster footage hailed as best in 20 years.
We did look at this earlier, and it wasn't that great. But I was there that day, so and I didn't see anything. But
yeah. Well, did you see that? I watched some program the other day, and they said they said there's some sort of weird underwater current thing that goes the opposite way or something. That's what. It was a really shit explanation, but have you seen that one?
To Loch Ness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nowhere else in the world
think...
does it happen, but obviously we have to explain that there's a monster. Explain there's not a monster there, so we've just made this thing up that doesn't happen anywhere else.
I think it's an existing dinosaur that's not been discovered yet that lives in the loch, goes up and down.
On the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur.
I think that's what it is.
Sponsored by the Loch Ness Tourist Board.
Hobbit, isn't gravity amazing? The gravity telescope could magnify exoplanets by 1,000 times.
Oh, they talk about this shit all the time. It's nothing new. Like they were saying this in the early 90s. Like, oh, our galaxy is going to see things behind it because gravity.
Yeah, I love gravity. Gravity's great, isn't it?
Gravity is like such a weak force, isn't it? You can pick things up and stuff.
If gravity's so real, then how come nobody's ever seen it?
Yeah. Have you seen the door on Mars, Hobbit? You seen the door on Mars that probably is nothing to see here?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That sounds interesting. What's that about?
Yeah. It's just pareidolia.
Oh yeah, you think you're seeing a door with hinges and a sign saying "Welcome to Mars."
Well, it's tempting to imagine this is some sort of artificially built doorway. It's probably naturally occurring geological feature and not the work of intelligent terrestrials.
I love geological features like the Giant's Causeway and the underground pyramids in Japan.
And the Eye of the Sahara. You know, all this stuff that you know just pops up. Ball lightning, fucking ball lightning. How does that work?
Ball lightning, swamp gas over Venus.
Yeah.
It's all reinforces the simulation theory for me.
Yeah.
It's all a trick of the mind.
It's like the developers are just putting these things in. This will keep them amused.
Well, I mean, another term for simulation theory is intelligent design, where it's it's not random happenstance. It exists for a reason.
Yeah.
Let that reason be love. Love me, baby. Oh my God, no! I'm not saying that song.
Love me for a reason.
Well, you can sing it if you want. But
Yeah.
I feel like a tit. Just
treasure hunters have found a metal canister that could contain hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stolen valuables, but on the other hand, it could not.
What bullshit's this? Just open it up and then you can tell, like, definitively.
Schrodinger's Nazi gold, Hobbit. It's Schrodinger's Nazi gold.
If we open it, we'll know for certain, and then there won't be a story. So let's keep it sealed.
Fucking it's the pinnacle of lazy German journalism. Like, something could or could not be something.
Hang on, isn't this like similar to like you're not allowed to exhume corpses or you're not allowed to dig in Poland because then you might or might not prove something in the past happened, and then you could be in a lot of trouble or not.
And they haven't found Oak Island treasure yet either.
Well, you know, Oak Island. It's thought Oak Island contains a massive treasure. See, we can write articles like this, can't we?
I know for a fact, right, and I can prove this, that Oak Island treasure is real. So the thing is, they just haven't dug deep enough. Because if they dig down deep enough, they'll get to the Moravitic discontinuity line, where the magma and the of the mantle and the crust forms, and you've got all sorts of gemstones. You've got oil there. You've got all sorts of things. If you could tap into the Moho line, you could have the most mineralogically rich seam ever. So the fact is, if you dig down about 60 miles on Oak Island, you will be rich beyond your wildest dreams.
Hobbit, I've got a glass of a solution that could. I've got a glass of a solution that could turn me into a superhero like one of the X-Men. But then again, it might hold orange squash. It might be one of the two.
One of those, is it?
Yeah. It could. It is thought. It is believed to have a solution that can create superheroes.
Just had a thought. If I put out a rumour that there's buried treasure in my garden, could get Baldrick over to dig it all up, then have a nicely returfed lawn afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh,
you can ask him if he's got a cunning plan.
Yeah.
what you got?
Apparently, he hates you mentioning his Baldrick, doesn't he? Apparently, it really pisses him off. Apparently.
Isn't it like the actor who played Victor Meldrew saying he really didn't like when people used the catchphrase?
I don't believe it!
Yeah. Well, they played on that in a Father Ted episode, didn't they?
Yeah, I know. It's like, go on, Ted. Tell him his catchphrase. I bet he'll find that really funny. I bet no one's done that before. I bet he'll find it incredibly funny, and you'll say, what a good joke. I like you. Here's an autograph. So what you got to do, right, if you've got a whole bunch of wood, is you talk to your mate on the phone, make sure the FBI are listening, and just saying, yeah, so I heard you're storing all those drugs inside your logs, and then the DEA will come along, and they'll cut open all the logs to look for the drugs, and now you don't have to cut your logs because they've done it for you.
Yeah.
It's called working the system.
Yeah.
It's called making your tax dollars work for you.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do in this day and age. You got to like work harder, not smarter. But
Definitely.
make them do it. Even harder still.
Mystery object falls from sky during lightning storm.
How do you know?
Because it's on a picture. Let's have a look at it.
On the internet, it must be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's a video for that as well.
has anybody proven this object's real? How do we know we're
it's a
not being
mystery
lied to?
object.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't think it's. How is that
Do we know
something
it's an
falling from the
object?
sky? It looks like one of those rods. Do you remember rods used to be? Do you remember people used to talk about rods all the time? Those things that fly through the sky.
I saw the object because there was a red circle surrounding it, although I didn't see anything in the red circle.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. It looks like a spider web or something that's caught the light.
Oh, that's weird.
Refraction from the camera.
Dirty bastards. Hybrid mystery monkey has been discovered in Borneo. The dirty bastards. They've been fucking monkeys, have they? Dirty fuckers.
Chimeras.
Yeah.
Like the first smartphone I bought was a Galaxy S2, and it would do this thing to me. Like when I press the home button on it, it would give me a bunch of suggestions. Like you could speak to the phone or do things. And one of the suggestions come up was like search Bonobo apes, and it's like, what is it with Samsung and trying to get me to look up Bonobo apes?
Deceased woman bangs on lid of her own coffin. So they didn't even embalm her. They just fucking threw her in the coffin and went to bury her, did they?
Maybe she wanted a natural burial. Like
yeah.
Have you heard that thing where they had like rich people back in Victorian times used to have like
a bell, didn't they?
A bell, didn't they, that they could ring?
Oh Jesus! Creepy dolls washed up along Texas
Is that
beach.
why they had that reggae song called "You Can Ring My Bell"? You can ring my bell.
I think that's
ring my bell. Do ring my bell. I think that was about hand jobs, Hobbit.
By Max Romeo called "Wet Dream."
Yeah.
I know. I chase the devil.
Every night me go to sleep, me have a wet dream. Lie down, go, push it up, lie down. And as we all know, that was a song about him having a leaky roof. So when it would rain on his head and he'd have a wet dream.
Was it like Turning Japanese was about somebody who was turning Japanese?
Yeah, so the fact is, when it would rain, he would ejaculate.
That's crap.
In his bed.
That is literal crap, that is. That story.
Also, pass the duchy to the left-hand side. Remember that?
Yeah, that's Prince Charles wrote that song, didn't he?
Yeah, they had to change it because it was about passing a spliff to the left.
What the fuck? Nightmarish bloodworm has fangs made of metal.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah.
That's all we got for you on creepy fucking shit I didn't want to know about.
With its 4 venom-laced fangs made of copper. This is one
you're
secret.
just making this shit up now. This
is one sea creature you definitely don't want to make. It might sound like something out of a science fiction horror movie, Hobbit, but the bloodworm, otherwise known as the bristleworm, is very much the real deal. Capable of reaching up to 35 centimetres in length.
Fake news. I don't believe you.
Do you want me to check? Do I have to check?
You should call it the tardy upgrade.
The tardy upgrade.
I'm just calling Snopes on you, and I'm saying this is fake news.
It's anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Oh my god! The question of how these worms have so much metal in their fangs has remained a mystery for years, but now a new study has helped shed light on this enigma by revealing the existence of a structural protein in its fangs, multitasking protein, which is called MTP, that helps the copper and melanin to bind together. Surely that should be a gold tooth. Melanated worms. Surely it should have a gold tooth then, shouldn't it?
Melanated worms on my motherfucking melanated plane.
Right, so have you had enough now, Hobbit?
I never want to hear about worms again.
Night all, stay spoopy. Watch out for copper fangs. Ooh.
We're the mushroom.